All right, folks, welcome to the Friday Night Preview Show. I am Bob. I want to welcome everyone tonight for joining us. A little different show tonight as I'm going fake live, as I'm recording this live, but you won't see it live because I'm going to post it shortly after me recording it fake live. That's due to an agenda which I have. So I don't want to be rushed at 7:15 or 7:20 whenever I would have normally finished the live show. Regardless, the same hijinks will occur. It'll be me and only me. That's all we got. We got nothing. We got Bob. We got a couple other guys. And we put some fields up and we play some whips. So, with that, I really have some making up to do with everyone since I've been a little lax behind the wheel at times. So I just want everyone to know that I'm here ready to go for your Friday night preview show. So I know there are some listeners here that really crave me sexually, but also my nonsense here, where in which I generally talk negatively, anonymously to and about others within the league. I'm going to try to keep it positive this week as we're here for the regional playoff, a long-standing tradition here in Golden State. Started up in Massachusetts, 2002, and a regional playoff, regardless of format, has always been a culmination of the regular season prior to our end of the year event, which of course is the Open, which will be once again here on Long Island, Suffolk County, in the Medford Patchogue area. Very excited, nice group of fields. We will be starting the Open process starting Monday for registration, recruitment, etc., etc. Info dumps, if you would. I'm excited. I hope others are. And we will be reaching out to any interested party, but anyone who sees this tonight and is pre-interested prior to our Monday go at it, please feel free to reach out and we will get you in the right direction. So, without further ado, let's go over the format, the bracket, the matchups for Sunday. Some some folks will be here Sunday, a little weathered, a little tired, possibly from a fast pitch event on Saturday. Myself possibly being one of them. So yeah, we'll see how the old bones can take that. Um, Regardless, that's a little inside info for anyone who was wondering how the Sonics might do on Sunday, and I might be tired. So we'll see. Regardless, we have 15 other teams that we could talk about, and they're all pretty good. And they're going to be fighting for a regional championship this weekend. It will be our usual stepladder format of death, which if you lose quickly, you feel like you got shortchanged. But that's why it's playoffs. And that's why they're golden games. That's why we're entering the strategy of a step ladder with golden games where you fight to the death to win this region. And it's not a fight to have a bad seed and lose to the best team in the first round. Play some long-winded double, triple elimination event that makes it feel longer and more ridiculous than a regular season event. It's the same 16 to 20 teams every week. We've now created a seeding situation now that we've played the season out, and we're left with four step ladder mini brackets that lead into our final four. Of course, we'll go over the consolation and exit rounds, which, of course, if you lose and when you lose, because there's only one champion at the end of the day, there will be consolation winners fighting for their open fee, which again is the reason to be in this league, a reason to be a week in, week out partner to this awesome format and awesome league that we've grown for a long, long time. So thank you to those who will be here this weekend. Thank you, of course, to the Bandits and Wahoos as they've had tough part-time seasons and they've made sure to still involve themselves in the playoff to fill out the brackets so that we're all getting what we all want out of this awesome year. So without further ado, once again, as you can see, I have the shared bracket up here. We're going to go through the first round matchups, but first I want to go through the format and the rules and how things will go on Sunday. Of course, round one will start approximately 8 a.m. Looks like nice, cool weather this weekend. But these Golden Games do take longer. These are games that mean a lot to folks. It's a one and done, big bracket here. So this game matters, even at 8 a.m. So please get there early. Please be prepared to play by 8, 8:15. We're not starting at 8:30. We really need to start no later than 8:20, 8:15. So please be there on time. We're gonna have gorgeous Gaul-ish weather. We're not up to Gaul yet, folks, but regardless, some really nice, comfortable weather to finish our season. So I expect everyone to be ready to go nice and early. We will be. So those 8 teams that start today, please be there on time. Please get yourself ready and we'll get the day going. Which means if you have a bye, if you have two buys, you need to be there at the time the game prior to you starts. So if you're the dumps, if you're the Dark Knights, if you're NRG, if you're the Screwballs, you need to be there by 8:20. You need to be there by 8:30. If one of these games go haywire very quickly, I want to get moving along. So look at the times up here, be a half hour prior to your game time, or if you have a bye, be there for the start of that first game or very, very soon after. So you can warm up, get ready, and the second that game ends, you will be joining them on that field, and you could just away you go. So the first two rounds of the step ladder will be 5 inning golden games, which I kind of see those as that sucker punch game. If you've played in this league a long time, these are sucker punch games. These are games if you're a higher seed, if you're a stronger, more talented team, you could really slip up very easily in this game because as opposed to a 6 inning or 7 inning golden game where you're playing, a much longer game where you're seeing, likely someone's ace for 3, 4, 5 innings. It's very different in a 5 inning game. These games happen quick. And do you start your ace right away and give him his 3 innings and try to close it out with another guy, etc.? So 5 innings, a max of 3 innings per pitcher, meaning it's likely a 3 innings for your ace, 2 innings for your number two, or 3-1-1, whatever you need to do. But generally, you're not getting a fourth inning out of your ace. So a game can turn upside down very quickly, and you don't have enough time to claw back. So that's happened many times. That's why I like the 5 inning golden game. I feel like it gives everyone a shot to win that game, regardless of depth of pitching rotation or depth of rotation, where the game is not too long, where the cream comes to the top. The longer the game is, those teams are going to grind you out, eventually hit everyone. But a 5 inning game, it's quick, man, especially when you have to use two pitchers. So um, that 8 a.m. round and that 9:15 a.m. round are both going to be in the same situation. So the starting pitching does not matter as these are all golden games. So the back-to-back starter does not matter. You have a max per game. If you go under that max, that just means the other pitcher needs to pitch more innings, or in some situations, you need a third pitcher. So that's if things go really sideways really quickly, you might yank your number two and bring in the number three, or bring in the number one right away and have to then finish the game with your number three or number 2A guy. So, a lot of strategy. If you have questions that are unsure, I think everyone here has played enough Golden Games to know. But of course, ask those questions on Sunday morning and we'll get you the answer. Following that, round three would be the quarterfinals, followed by the semifinals. Both of those games will be 6 inning golden games, and that favors the team with an ace a little better because it's a 4-2 situation. So it's just a 1 inning longer game, but that ace can really go that fourth inning. So a little more time for someone to claw back, but an extra inning with your ace on the mound. So a different type of strategy there, if you ask me. Followed by the finals, which will be a 7 inning golden game, which is a combination of the two. Again, one more inning, but now we're adding another inning for the second pitcher or even a third pitcher. So it's not mandatory that you need three pitchers. We're not doing something like that. You can get by every single game with two pitchers and two pitchers only. Just know that someone will need to pitch their max each game. In a 5 inning game, the max is 3 innings per pitcher. In a 6 inning game, it's 4 innings per pitcher. In a 7 inning game, it's also 4 innings per pitcher. So likely it's to go 4-3, 4-2, and 3-2 if you go by the book, chalk it. So create your strategies accordingly. Luckily, the back-to-back won't be a factor when you're looking to navigate your bracket. It's really about who do you start first. If you got an ace and you're facing a really strong team, do you want to save him for the end? but you might not get to the end. If you're down 7-0 already and now you're bringing your ace in, you may not be there. Maybe you start your ace in a game like that and try to get a lead or try to keep it close and then say, well, it's house money now. Let's try to win it with our number two. So use those strategies wisely for sure. We've seen a lot of missteps due to poor coaching decisions in golden games. So please discuss with your teammates and decide what route you want to go to win these games. So let's get into the matchups, I guess, first. We'll at least do the first round matchup and then we'll talk about the comeback cup and exit brackets a little bit, first round or two. So yeah, 8 a.m., 8:15 start, whatever it may be. Those eight teams are going to play their first round games. This is the 9 through 16 seeds. These are the teams that were middle of the road or worse. So instead of starting with, week in, week out, if you're the 16 seed, well, who are you facing round one? You're facing the top seed on the day, which is usually one of these really strong teams. At least we avoid those really strong high-end teams until round two and round three to get people that golden game feel, prepare everyone for the open, and get some good content with some good matchups here early. You're playing some middle of the road teams against each other, and we're going to talk about some of them right now. And I think the best matchup there, and I'm not sure they're going to be at full capacity, but the Royal Flush High Rollers matchup is really very interesting, considering the Flush really having a down year. Kind of lost Nick Martinez. They had some roster issues throughout the seasons. Just it is what it is. You have a couple of bad weeks and then miss an event, you fall in the standings pretty quick. But high rollers, they're kind of where we expect them to be. Not a lot of points, missed a few events, but they have a lot of talent and a lot of good players, led by Hot Joe, who was arguably the MVP of the All-Star game last weekend. So, I think a Geoff led team. I'm not sure if Bumpy's going to be there, but a Geoff led squad with Mora and whoever else they bring, whether that's Vargas or Jeff, or if Bumpy's coming again, some semblance of a partial roster, against an up and coming high rollers team. I end up seeing this as a really even matchup. Whereas, at full strength, I think you look at it and say, Royal Flush has this game pretty handedly. They only really have to worry about Joe. But I think in a situation where you have a little bit of a shorthanded Royal Flush team, you could see the Rollers win this game and now put themselves in a situation where they're playing NRG, who I think they'd be a bit overmatched again. But I mean, Joe has been so strong this year that, in a 5 inning golden game, if they start the other guy and just keep you in the game for a couple innings, I mean, the team can hit. His guys can hit. They just need a little bit of experience. So if they could just get on a roll early and win a game, then the dominoes fall. And listen, I'm sure both those teams are looking at it and be like, listen, if we beat NRG and we get to whiffing, we're a little shorthanded. We may not get there. I mean, NRG probably looking at it and say, give us whiffing, we'll give us our best shot, and we'll go from there. High rollers and flush probably don't want to see whiffing there, but you get 2 rounds deep, you're really in house money at that point. Another great matchup in this round, I think, is going to be Goodfellas Throwbacks. Two teams, again, with something to prove, pretty down seasons, but they're there every week. They have the passion and they care. And I think they look at their mini bracket and say, we couldn't be more familiar with the two teams leading up or after this game than we could ask for. Where if they look at all the other mini brackets, eventually you run into the enemy whiffing, the Sonics, even the dumps, screwballs. You look, I mean, don't get me wrong, Dark Knights are a top 5 team in this league every single year. But the experience of playing them at Coops and having that kind of mental appeal over them, we just all good buddies. We know our ins and outs. While I think they know that Dark Knights are a stronger team, I think they feel like it's a team like, hey, like, we know them enough that you never know. And that's all you're really looking for in a yard, especially a single elimination game, is you kind of know face value, like what team is generally better than the others. But it doesn't mean they're going to win every time. And when it comes down to one game where it means something, all of a sudden it's 4-0 in the third inning, and the Dark Knights are looking at it like, holy shit. I mean, here we go again. But I would expect the Dark Knights to move on and play a really strong game against the Dead End Kids, which is probably could be one of the games of the day, mid morning there. So we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, I think Goodfellas Throwbacks has a lot to prove, both of them, like I said. So that'll definitely be a streamed game along with Royals High Rollers for sure. Round out the first round, Process against Chief Wahoo's. Process. have been, we all know that they could hit and score and field and pitch and everything, but they just really haven't put it together in wins. They've had a tough time closing out games. They've had a tough time pitching to some of the really strong teams, but they've had no problem hitting pretty much anyone. So they're going to need to hold the other team just to less runs, especially as they get further on in the day. If they get by the Wahoos and they go on to the dumps, I mean, they're going to have to score some runs with them. Chief Wahoos, I would not count them out, just considering the process are very raw and, have kind of had this weird kind of like underachieving season. But the Wahoos even more so underachieving, where they've played in this league 4 years and they've gotten better, but their attendance has kind of waned this season. And I worry about that. Aside from Brett Shireman, they've really not really been there week in, week out to give me a clear look on if that improvement really meshed into results. So I'm not sure that's going to happen. But regardless, the Wahoos will be there on Sunday. They're going to put the effort in. Brent had a great All-Star game, if you ask me. He pitched several innings, struck out Johnny Chech, got out of a couple of jams, kept us in each of those opportunities that he pitched. And that's the type of experience, that's the type of work that guys need in order to get better so that they can play with their guys and bring it back to camp and say, how are we going to improve so that we're not this 15 and 16 seed in future seasons because we're better than that. And I think they know that. A lot of that, again, has to do with them just not being here enough this year. So, if they get past the process, that makes their whole season, right? As it's been such a downer. So I'm rooting for him, of course. Brett's a great guy, Sean's a great guy, Theo and Eric, of course, and they just haven't been around. So it is what it is. Same goes for the Bandits. They know they're standing. They're here to drink some beer and have some fun. They have some talent. They just don't have the depth. The Romaners rake. Zach has the pash. They play all the time. Lance is coming up from Jersey this week. So like these guys are putting in the effort to be there. They know the writing on the wall that they're limited and how far they're going to go week to week. But I think they look at theirs. It's also kind of a pseudo Governors team this week. Falcon May comes, kind of like the rest will be how we fit into this team. And I think Jeff Draper will be around, will be subbing for obviously someone our number one league sub. He's your pseudo summer league man of the year right now. He's playing every event aside from I believe the Philly event and has been available every week, paid his league fee, did exactly what a good soldier does, and he's been rewarded not only with a super qualifier win week one, opening day, but an opportunity to play every single week, make an impact on the league, and guys love him. Jeff's always around, he's there, he's silly, he's guaranteed to take one awful swing a game. He might get three fucking hits though. So that's what Whiff's all about. Love guys like that, and I appreciate him, of course, for his effort this season. Holding some teams together here and there. So again, Bandits now, Governor's Bandits team playing Whiff City, who have been pretty hot lately, if you ask me. They've had some tough draws. They've played some really strong games as usual. Almost beat the enemy, play strong against Whiff. They play the best against the best teams. So this might be an opportunity for the Bandits to spook them because they tend to sometimes not always play their best against some of the middle of the road teams. And I don't know if it's they just don't pay attention, they're brain dead, or they don't get up for those games. I don't believe any of that. I think it's just kind of a weird anomaly that they just play up to those great teams. So I do expect Whiff City to move on. It won't be necessarily a cakewalk because the Bandits, have enough moxie to scrap some runs and stay in the game. So we'll see how that goes. And then a really nice matchup against the Screwballs, if you ask me. I think Whiff City has all it takes to beat the Screwballs. They have just as much depth as the Screwballs do. Matty B has been pitching really well for the Screwballs. So my question is, number two pitcher, is it Johnny? Is it someone else? It's probably John. But he's very field dependent lately. So interested to see. I expect kind of a low scoring game if it gets to that. I think you can see your typical Screwballs grind out game. I don't know who that really favors though, because Whip City can score runs, and when the games get real tight, I mean they're there, but um, I give like Screwballs the edge of the field a little bit. Very interesting matchup because you don't know what you're going to get out of Whiff City week in, week out. They could be having one of their good weeks, and me on the Sonics, I'm looking at that as like if the Whiff City gets hot, they're now a very, very scary team that I certainly do not want to face in the quarterfinals. Same with the Screwballs because they beat us last year in the quarterfinals. It might have even been round two. I don't even think it was quarters. So. I don't want to go home early. So regardless of who I'm playing, I know it's going to be a very strong matchup, someone that's going to put us to the edge the whole time. And again, if I'm tired, if I'm bad on the mound, these games, get late quick. Ours will of course be a 6 inning game, so we have some flexibility there in our pitching. But again, those are concerns for teams. The game gets away from you in the early innings, and now you're pressing in the third inning, and now you let a team that you felt like you're stronger than get by you. I expect those top four teams to feel that same way. They're going to have double buys. Double buy sounds great. I get to sleep in, I get to show up a little late, stick around. You're going to face a team with one, possibly two games under their belt. They could have 5 to 10 to more innings under their belt prior to even you stepping on the field. So you know how it is, first couple of at bats, not the youngest person in the league anymore. So sometimes you're a little tight. Sometimes you're not always overly prepared. Sometimes you take for granted that you have a 2 hour late start and show up late or show up whenever you feel like and dick around chatting with everyone. Next thing you know, game ends early and they're like, you're up. You got to get ready. And you don't take BP, you don't get yourself prepared. So I think it's how these teams with buys prepare themselves early in the morning on how they succeed in their first game. And a team like mine is going to show up, 6 to 8 minutes before that game's supposed to start. Zero warm. So the game might as well be at 8 a.m. because it won't matter that it's 10:30. You'll have the same grogginess in inning one and two in that game. So if you're with Inc, get there, get yourself prepared. Enemy, they will be prepared. They always are. Dead end kids, I don't know. Peter will love that he gets to stay in until 10 a.m., but then he'll probably say, "Oh, I have to leave at 2." Regardless, these teams need to be ready, whatever that may be. So those quarterfinal teams really should be there by 9:15, no later than 9:30, so that they can be prepared, ready, stretched out for their quarterfinal matchup. And then from there, I'm not going to do predictions. I'm just kind of spitting, talking out of my ass here on what, you look at face value of these teams, but how the games are going to shake out is beyond me, and that's why I think the Golden Game is such a key thing. Um, you know, whoever the enemy get, dumps, process, Wahoos. I mean, they have a matchup for them. It's a 6 inning game where the dumps process, really can hang in that game. Dead end kids, if they're going to get Dark Knights, that's a game that they're probably like, we're the 4 seed, but they're the 5, so they're just as competitive as we are. And then, even if Goodfellas throwbacks work their way through dead end kids, they have no leg to stand on to say that they're, don't have to give those teams any credit. I think they're way too familiar with each other to put any sort of like, don't worry about them. We're really focused on Dark Knights. So same goes for the Dark Knights. You take a team lightly, next thing you know, your season's over, your regular season's over. You're in an exit cup. You're bitching to me anonymously, publicly that you don't like the format. So, it is what it is. Can't please anyone. I expect teams that lose to be anonymously upset. I expect teams that win to be publicly facing positive. Um, PFP, publicly facing positive. Um, and that's just how it goes, right? We're competitors. We're going to say we love it when we win. We're going to say we hate it when we lose. This is a happy medium. This has been for a long time. We're here to celebrate the season. It's not supposed to be a long grind. It is going to be a long grind for someone, for the regional champion and those who walk that step ladder. If one of those 9 through 16s walk that step ladder, they're going to have played a lot of innings on the day, and they're going to have felt that they paid um, that it was worth their while. If you go out quick, you're going to be just searching for answers and how to prepare for the open. And that's how you should take it. When you lose, you get back up and you prepare for the next one. So that being said, losers of this match will play, and let me reshare because I don't trust it. Da-dum. All right, we got the other picture up. Just wanted to make sure that it was there so that you see it. Hopefully, you've been seeing it the whole time. Luckily, it's not live, it's fake live. So if I fucked it all up, I could do it again, which would actually piss me off because this seemed like I did a decent job. I mean, I'm sure I'll have some anonymous negative comments on how I suck and don't do anything and whatever. What can you do? Regardless, at some point, you're going to lose on the day. And you know, in this league, when you lose, that just means you got to play more. There's no losing and going home. So I don't know where these negative comments come. The only people who are going to be pissed is that lose and then you lose again. And then you say, oh, well, it's only 10:30 in the morning and we already lost. Well, I don't know. Fucking get drunk. I don't know what to tell you. We're going to be here the rest of the day. Help us. Let's fucking commentate. Let's get smashed and talk about how awesome this league is and how awesome the Open's going to be and how you're going to be there. So regardless, everyone who loses, when you lose your round, first round, there'll be four losers. Those four losers will enter a bracket. They'll play that bracket out, and they're still going to continue to play 5 inning golden games, especially that first bracket. So again, you're getting two full golden games no matter what, 10 innings of play, which is almost 3 games. Say what you want. Play a 6 inning game. I don't give a shit. If you want it to be a six, we could play six. Your fields aren't necessarily going to be needed after that. You lose, you go across the way, and you're going to play that bracket out. So play an extra inning. I don't give a shit. But regardless, the winners of those two games will then play each other. The winner of that game will earn their open fee credit. So again, it's this is the time where you talk about the fees and what you contribute to the league. Here's how we give back this week. We save that money up in order to give that back to you, the players, the teams that are in the middle that are fighting for their worth. And it might be the fifth place area, it might be the eighth place area, but there should be a reward for those sorts of tiers and brackets where teams feel like they made it somewhere and they have something to improve upon, something to gain, and then obviously, getting their open paid for. So losers of round two will fall into a similar bracket. Those, since they have already played, a couple of games, will be a forwarding game straight to shootout. That's the only time I believe we'll do the no back-to-back situation. We can talk about that too after that round. I'm fine with that being golden game too, 5 inning golden games. But as the day goes on, if you've played 1 or 2 games to then fall into a loser's bracket to play 2 more games, that's where people go, oh, that's too many games. We lost. We don't want to play too. There's no fucking happy median. You're gonna have someone pissed off regardless. Sorry, pissed off. No one's mad. No one's yelling. No one's upset. They're just negative. They're just negative. They're a little they're a little upset. All right, I get it. Happens. So round two losers will fall into a similar bracket. Innings are negotiable, of course. It's your league, guys. But it's going to be beautiful weather, so guys may want to play fucking 9 inning games. I don't care. Again, stay there all day. The field's up. We're there. Let's have fun. Following that, the quarterfinal losers, the third round losers. So again, everyone guaranteed 1 game. So if Whiffing gets knocked off, they're still playing another game and getting something out of it. So again, those quarterfinal losers will play in a exit game. And again, that will be for credits for the Open as well. It should be your full fee, but that is negotiable based on who paid and didn't pay what they needed to pay this year. So again, if you haven't paid for the day, I think there's 1 or 2 teams that haven't sent me money yet. If you haven't, if you were one of them, make sure you do that. And then we're talking about the Open, and I'm going to turn this off for a second. You can listen to me, my shitty face, my stupid attitude, my bad natured everything. We're gonna be there at the Open, August 23rd, 24th. We'll probably do a preview format solicitation for team show sometime late next week prior to the weekend, which is really going to start our real push for the Open. Again, I said starting Monday, registration will start to open. We're going to start reaching out to, starting with the league teams, of course, and then those guaranteed, the every year guys. And then, us as a collective group will put in effort to, recruit teams that, possibly want to come out. So we can make this a great event and so we can keep this event on Long Island. I think that is a factor at times for folks who are traveling, then to have to come an hour or so out on Long Island, which does, it is what it is. I don't care. I'm here. You know that we'll go anywhere. But for others, it is what it is. So if we can build up our brand here locally, we're going to have a great, amazing event. There's enough people that come and love our league that they will be there. So let's go Sunday. That's been said like all fucking year. Maybe a little fucking passion going into the playoff week. I've given you the matchups. I've given you who's playing. I've told you that I'm a failure and that we're here to correct those things by finishing off this season right. We will put out the stream schedule. We might do multi-stream for the first game or two because we'll have some extra bodies around. So we talked about some good matchups. I expect there to be good games. I floored at the great weather. Geoff will find a way to fuck it up and send me some negative text about wind or, dew point or something. So we'll figure that out. We will be there Sunday bright and early. First pitch, 8-ish a.m. Please be there on time. Please get yourself prepared. If you have buys, be there early. Oh, we're at E. We're at the usual E spot, parking field 6A, Kite Field. I believe the Grateful Dead cover band, whatever, is playing in E tonight. If it was tomorrow, I'd be camped out there waiting to set up fields and probably recruiting for the league because considering, all of that, that's what we're here to do, I guess. Well, I'm gonna post this and pretend that I did it live, and most people won't know because they don't know which way is up. And it'll get posted shortly, and you'll be able to watch it. And you're going to have questions, comments, concerns. You could put them in the comments in the YouTube video, and I won't read them for probably 2 weeks when I realize that they could have been comments. But regardless, see you on Sunday. LFG. Good luck to everyone playing fast pitch tomorrow. And let's finish this season right. LFG.